You ever notice how nobody warned you about the real nightmares of moving into your dream home? I'm not talking about the mortgage, the leaky faucets, or even the wild critters in the backyard. I'm talking about the monsters that wear pearls wave from behind picture-perfect blinds and weaponize every ounce of their boredom. You know what I mean, because I swear the biggest mistake I made wasn't the paint color in the nursery, it was assuming the scariest thing in Maplewood Glen would be the property taxes. So let me back up a sec. My wife Serafina and I, we were riding that wave most couples dream about. 5 years married, scrimped, and saved, hustling city life with one eye on Zillow, hoping someday we'd trade brick walls for blue sky. She was 6 months pregnant, our baby girl Amara kicking up a storm every night. We finally founded a blue colonial on Primrose Lane, all white shutters and an oak tree so old it probably saw more history than the library downtown. The neighborhood looked like something out of a movie: old trees, emerald lawns, quiet streets, people who nodded but never really waved. The first weeks, pure bliss. We painted the nursery lavender, built a crib that nearly cost us our sanity, argued over which one of us was the worst with a paint roller. Our happiness was a bubble untouchable, or so we thought. The neighbors kept their distance, polite, reserved, as if they'd all agreed on some unspoken rule. But there was one who didn't just watch, she studied us, Brenda Lockhart, queen of the perfectly coiffed hair and the even more perfect lawn, a widow who spent every waking minute making sure a single dandelion didn't dare pop up on her property. At first I thought Brenda was just eccentric. She showed me how to start our stubborn lawnmower, lectured about community standards like she'd been elected mayor, but I figured that's just how suburban folks are. Then Serafina's doctor hit us with the kind of news that takes the air out of a room: high blood pressure, early signs of preeclampsia. Bed rest total, no exceptions. Suddenly my world shrank to our bedroom. Meals, medicine pillows fluffed, and nerves fried, everything else faded, including the yard work. The grass grew not into a jungle, just a little wilder than our neighbors' military buzz cuts. But in Maplewood Glen, a rogue blade of grass is basically a declaration of war. Brenda started with the stares. Then came the loud comments about people not respecting property tossed over her shoulder to her prize petunias. I tried to explain honestly, even apologized, told her about Serafina's health. Brenda just gave me this look like I'd told her we kept wild goats in the living room. An orderly environment is conducive to healing, she said. Which is suburban for your problems are not my problem. Then came the notes, each one colder than the last. First, a formal warning unsigned, but obviously her citing the HOA's rules about grass height. Then laminated lists about vermin and unacceptable dandelions, even a zoomed-in photo red circle and all. Every time I saw that white envelope, my stomach dropped. Our home, once safe, started to feel like a prison, with Brenda as the warden and the rest of the neighbors her silent jury. I reached my breaking point the night our mower finally died for good, and I caught Brenda watching me through her window, lit up like a scene from a horror movie. That Cold War finally went hot on a Saturday when I ran out to grab emergency meds for Serafina. She'd felt cooped up for weeks and just wanted to stand outside for a minute, breathe real air, sunlight on her face. That's when Brenda saw her and seized her moment. She rolled over, not just with words, but dragging her own lawnmower like some ancient executioner. "You people move in here and think you can just let everything go to ruin," she screamed, her voice sharp enough to slice through concrete. And yeah, she said it. You people. Not even trying to hide the poison in her words. Serafina, bless her, stood tall, told Brenda to get off our property, told her she had no business here. But Brenda wasn't after dialogue. She dialed 911, right there, voice trembling, painting herself as a helpless old lady under siege from a hostile pregnant woman. She fits the description, Brenda whispered loud enough for any neighbor to hear. There have been strange cars. Could be part of a ring. She turned a patch of grass into a full-blown emergency, all because my wife was black pregnant and standing in her own driveway. When I pulled up and saw 2 cruisers flashing in front of my house, my heart just about stopped. My wife, my baby, were they okay? Serafina was surrounded by cops, one hand on her stomach, face pale with pain. The officers barely looked at me, repeating Brenda's lies about threats encasing the neighborhood. When Serafina winced, nearly collapsing from the stress, only then did they call for an ambulance. The flashing lights weren't just for show, they were the community signal we were the problem, not the people who built this so-called paradise. That night, the hospital saved both my wife and our daughter, but the doctor's words were clear: whatever happened can't happen again. But when we got home, things only got worse. Taped to our door, an official HOA violation, $1,500 in fines for unmowed grass and aggressive behavior, threats of a lien, all echoing Brenda's story. The coldness of the neighborhood froze over. No more polite waves, just averted-eyed neighbors ducking away as we drove by, whispers carried on the breeze. The only relief came from the Patels across the street. "Don't let her bully you," they said. And Mr. Henderson, a 30-year veteran of Primrose Lane, who muttered, "Don't let anyone tell you you're the crazy one. Seen her do it before." That was the twist I needed. Mr. Henderson filled me in. Brenda had run off the last family too. A black professor, Latina wife, 2 kids. Same game notes, animal control calls, police, even accusing them of turning a birthday party into a riot. We found the old owner, Professor Jackson, and he had the receipts, notes, photos, a record of harassment, even a willingness to testify for us. With that, we stopped playing defense. Serafina, a paralegal before bed rest, found a civil rights lawyer, Imani Vance, sharp as a tack and cool as ice. She filed for a court delay, drafted a thunderous letter to the HOA, subpoenaed every call in cop cam from the day of the incident. We installed cameras, kept a log, the Brenda Chronicle. Then the evidence started to roll in: Brenda tossing trash on our lawn at night, peering in our windows, even poisoning Serafina's rosebush, all caught on video. That was our arsenal. The showdown came at the HOA clubhouse. Vance called it a community transparency meeting, packed the place with neighbors and the whole HOA board. Brenda strutted in, ready for her victory lap. Instead, she got her own 911 call played for the room, her voice dripping with false fear. Then came the cop cam: Serafina, calm, the cops confrontational. Brenda grinning through her window like the director of a sick play. Finally, our videos played for everyone to see: Brenda sneaking onto our lawn, poisoning plants, the whole bit. When Brenda exploded, shouting, "They don't belong here," her mask dropped, and so did the support of the neighborhood. HOA fines dropped. Formal apology delivered. Serafina's criminal charge dismissed. We filed a report against Brenda for false police calls, property damage, and stalking. She put her house up for sale within a month. Maplewood Glen finally exhaled. Kids played in the street, neighbors smiled again. And our daughter Amara arrived, a little miracle, her name meaning grace. Just what we needed. See this story? It was never about grass. It was about who gets to decide what a community really means. Sometimes hate hides behind polite smiles, but sometimes if you fight back with truth and receipts, it shatters right there in the open. We built the family we wanted in the home we almost lost, and we did it by standing up for ourselves, for the Jacksons, for every neighbor bullied into silence. Now I'm telling you, document everything, stand your ground, and don't let anyone tell you you don't belong. So let's stir it up. Is it really about rules, or is it about power? About who's welcome and who gets erased? Drop your thoughts down below. Let's talk justice. Let's talk community, because I guarantee somewhere out there another Brenda's watching through the blinds, waiting to see what you'll do next.